Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Darrell Owens. We're back for another edition of One-on-One here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network and, of course, airing on the Amazing Boy Television. With me today, I have the LegacyMaker Sports Network's draft guru, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby, coming in to give you his final mock draft ahead of tomorrow's NFL mock. I'm very intrigued to see where Jay will go with his final picks, and it should be a really good hour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy an hour or at least an hour, could be more, of some NFL draft coverage with my guy, Jeremiah Quimby. Let's get it going right now. Episode 167 of 101 starts now.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to One-on-One at LegacyMaker Sports Network.
Hey, welcome everybody. We are here, episode 167, and we are 1 day away from the NFL draft. And with me today, co-founder of the LegacyMaker Sports Network and draft guru here on the LegacyMaker Sports. He's going to tell you, Darrell, that's not true. I ain't no draft guru. He lying to you. He would be absolutely lying to you. This man is in the books all year long, talking NFL draft, knowing NFL draft. With me today, co-founder of the LegacyMaker Sports Network and co-host of the J&J podcast, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. What's up, Jay?
Not much cholesterol at my age.
Look.
Oh, yeah.
Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we got Jay here with us today. He's going to give us his final mock draft and also give us a couple of sleepers heading into tomorrow's draft. And I'm excited to kind of see where Jay's mind is as we get ready for this, his final mock draft of the season. Jay, how you feeling right now, man? With the draft starting tomorrow, how you feeling about your final mock?
I feel good about it, but again, there's no trades that have happened, and like we talked earlier, there's every team since what you said, Montana, has a first round pick.
It's been a long time.
There's going to be a lot of chaos probably tomorrow with trades and players moving to make salary cap space, especially if you're called the Saints.
Exactly. New Orleans is. Man, there's one team that just, I don't know how they figure out the money to get what they have on the field. It's the New Orleans Saints. Them and in the opposite end, probably the Philadelphia Eagles. Every year, they just have money, and I don't know where they get it from. They just have money. For a couple of years ago, it was the Rams. It's just like, I don't know. We just got it. Don't even worry about it.
But the Rams didn't have to worry about it because they didn't have first round picks.
True, and that's because because of all the trades and all the money had to spend. Like, hey man, you can have those. I'm like, man, like you gonna take everything? But anywho, Jay, are you ready to get started on this mock draft, baby?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting off with Jay's 1 through 8 here in his final mock draft. Jay, the Tennessee Titans at the number 1 slot. And I think I know, well, we obviously see where you're going, but why? Why go quarterback at number 1 if you're the Tennessee Titans?
Will Levis, when you watched him, just made some ridiculous, underhand throws to the defense, had zero composure. I mean, the best composure he had was when he did that mayonnaise commercial. So, and, the Titans should have kept Mike Vrabel and Malik Willis. Because look what Willis did up for you guys in Green Bay as a fill-in for Jordan Love. He looked completely different.
Yeah, so, he looks like a completely different person there. That I will say. So Cam Ward going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. At number 2, the Cleveland Browns are picking in. Where do you have them going at number 2?
I got him going Travis Hunter, and I think you'll see him play again both sides, but more often than not, you'll see him as a wide receiver because when at the end of his deal, he'll want to be paid as a wide receiver, not as a corner.
Yeah, and I think that's the huge part. And a lot of people are starting to see, like, they know that the money is going to be better for him on the receiver front. But he just plays both positions so well. So whoever drafts him, you got to make sure if you decide whichever way you're going to, play him, that you got to make sure he is getting time on both sides of the football.
A lot of mockers are comparing him to Charles Woodson. I got to tell you, I don't see the comparison at all because Woodson was a generational talent. Hunter's good, but I think his is the Pac-12 he played in, correct?
They played in the Big 12.
Oh, the Big 12.
The Big 12 last year. Yeah.
The talent that he went against was not the best in the country. Mm-hmm. So he was able to read where them passes were going before they left the quarterback's hands. In the NFL, you get a lot of movement from other players. Plus, quarterbacks know how to move their eyes to get you to go where they want them to. So I don't think it's going to be as simple for him to play corner in the league as it was in college.
Yeah, I'm interested to kind of see how it goes. I mean, look, he is a smaller frame guy. And I know how we've always had our reserves about smaller flame players in the league. I mean, look, Jaden Daniels proved this wrong last year, but that is year one. You still would like to see a guy like that bulk up. And I would kind of like to see him bulk up a little bit too. Maybe not too much, but just a little bit more.
Who was the young man that the Commanders drafted in the first round from Mississippi State, I think?
Manuel Forbes.
Yeah, he had great ball skills, but again, he was built like me. And couldn't stay on the field.
Now you might have been. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You might have been bigger than him. There were sometimes I would see him out there at camp, and I'm like, man, he's so small. Like his legs were just like this big. It was crazy. At number 3, the New York Football Giants. Now, I know the Giants probably would love to have a quarterback here, but if Cam Ward's not there, I don't know if they make the move to go to Shedeur Sanders. But where do you have the New York Giants going?
Abdul Carter, and the reason I went here because I agree with the quarterback. They definitely need that, but with Carter, that in my mind makes Thibodeau expendable because he has not lived up to the draft position and the hype coming out of college, and he's got 2 years, I believe, on his contract of control. So they could trade with a team and get another second-round pick possibly for somebody. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of times that a change of scenery has helped a player.
Yeah, and look, the Giants situation is a little bleak. Yeah. They've had some really rough times since Eli Manning left. And so, yes, they have made the playoffs one time, and they won a playoff game. But it just hasn't come all the way around, and this is it for Dayball. I think if him and what's the GM's name? Joe starts with an S, but the guy who messed up everything and didn't make sure
I can't say it.
Yeah, wasn't able to get Jaden Daniels and let Saquon Barkley go. So this is probably it for them if they don't get it right.
They hit on a first rounder. And they're like, all right, see you later. Have good luck. And he ends up winning a ring
as soon as he leaves.
Close to beating the record. I mean, It's like, really? Come on, guys.
The first year he like, whew, I'm out of here. And then look what happens. But that, we always talked about, remember like our drafts a couple years ago. Remember that draft, the Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley draft. Remember my mock draft? I said, man, if I was going to do this, you go Barkley first if you're Cleveland. And then you pick Josh Allen at 4. Talked about it all the time. And I mean, it may have not ended up the way they wanted because it is Cleveland, but just looking where they are as players now, you'd be like, man, that could have been something special for Cleveland. At number 4, the New England Patriots. Who do you have the Patriots going with at number 4?
Will Campbell, because Drake May looked solid when he wasn't running for his life. I know a lot of people aren't sold on Campbell because of the short arm thing. But you can put him any place on that line, and he will help because he is definitely a good run blocker and a good pass blocker.
Yeah, and they definitely need that. I mean, Drake May had he looks like he could be good for this team, but you got to be able to keep the man upright.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a really tough deal if you don't have somebody there to protect him. There's some people that say they would like to see Ashton Genty go here. I don't know if that's, the route I would go if I'm New England, but you have to show that you need to protect.
Running back
Drake
is
May.
very deep in this class.
Yes,
in the second
yes, it
round,
is.
they could still get Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, and Quinshawn Junkins, along with Neil later from Kansas.
Yeah, Neil had a really good game against Colorado. I remember they when they knocked Colorado off that time, he had a really good game against Colorado. It was crazy. Now we head to number 5 and a team that 2 years ago made the playoffs, almost beat the Chiefs. Then the next year they were all the way there. They were the number 1 team in the AFC midseason. Trevor Lawrence gets hurt, and they haven't been the same since. And that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Where do you have the Jacksonville Jaguars going at 5?
Mason Graham, they need that defensive tackle position, and Graham has been dominant all year. It didn't matter who he was going against. He is definitely a force in the middle. I'm not going to try to compare because the one thing that I really, in my own head, I don't like when people give comparisons and expectations on players because they might not play the same, and it puts too much on their shoulders. These are still young men that are trying to fill themselves out and figure out what's going on with them. So give them a chance to be who they are.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see, what move they go with Jacksonville.
Because, that'll – sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
They took Walker number 1 overall, and he hasn't been the bust that we thought he'd be. And I'm trying to look. Then they drafted defensive tackle a couple years ago in the first round.
I know who you're talking about. Is that Chason? Chase?
No, he was a linebacker.
He was a linebacker. Okay. Then they drafted that cornerback a couple years ago, and then they ended up trading him. Was it Henderson?
Jalen Ramsey?
Ramsey too, but it was a guy they got from Florida. Was it Henderson? I don't know. It's been multiple times I've seen them like draft guys and then they end up sending them away. Not too long after they had him. But I think he ended up going to Carolina. I don't know why I can't think of his first name, but anywho, Jacksonville going with Mason Graham at number 5. At number 6, the Vegas Raiders are on the clock. And where do you have Vegas going?
Ashton Gentry, the best running back in this class. I think he fell like less than 30 yards short of breaking Barry Sanders' rushing record. And with Pete Carroll being there, bringing Geno Smith, they love to run the screen plays for the running back, and Gentry will just put up numbers. So for all of us that are in the dynasty leagues, get yourself Ashton Gentry.
Grab
if
him
he
and
goes
run.
to the Raiders.
Grab him and run. At number 7, the New York Football Jets. They haven't made the playoffs since 2010. And who do you have? Aaron Glenn and the crew selecting at 7 to help in that.
I really wanted to go defensive here, but their defense is so talent depth-wise. I think Glenn will be able to bring out what's there that hasn't been tapped into potential-wise. So I went with Armand Membo.
Yeah, Membu. I've heard a couple different pronunciations.
I really he will probably be right tackle or moved to the inside because he's never played any left tackle. He's always been a right tackle. But if he falls farther than 7, he will be the steal of the first round. He has talent for days.
That's awesome. I've heard nothing but great things about Membu, and the Jets need all the help they can get on the offensive line. And all right, Jay, your last pick here in this top 8 coming from the Carolina Panthers. Where do you have them going?
T-Mac from Arizona.
Yeah, T-Mac.
Bryce Young finally found his groove a little bit last year, and I think he needs that number one. They they drafted Xavier Legit, and he hasn't been it. Adam Thielen's getting up there in age, and I wrote something down. I can't read my own writing.
They had a kid named Jalen Coker, I think, that had some decent moments towards the end of the season last year, but it was hit or miss. It was hit or miss.
But the hit or miss doesn't work in the league.
No, you got to have somebody who's there.
Yeah.
They're gonna be that good 90% of the time. Jay, out of your first 8 picks, which one of these players you think could be just a NFL superstar in your opinion?
Abdullah Carter, I'm gonna go with him because I see flashes of Micah Parsons.
And that's what I think. A lot of people were scared because of the injury, and I think he probably would have been the first pick of this draft if it wasn't for the injury. I think Tennessee was definitely leaning that route, and then the injury kind of scared them off, and they went with their second choice, and I think that's why they're going Cam Ward, and they've kind of locked that in. So that it takes a little bit of some of the suspense.
I know he spent quite a bit of time there talking to him when they had their 30-person visit.
Mm-hmm.
And they absolutely loved him, but they were definitely worried about the injury. So, I mean, that's always a big thing with pass rusher. And
yeah,
I mean, he's just got to stay on the field and show because the talent's there.
Yeah, man, it's just very tough timing. Very tough timing for him. He had a really good chance, to do some good stuff, but it is what it is. Now we head to 9 through 16, Jay. At number 9, the New Orleans Saints are on the board, and Derek Carr may not be playing this season. There's a chance that he doesn't play. So quarterback is a big thing for them. Where do you have the Saints going at number 9?
Shedeur Sanders. The only reason I don't have him going top 3 is a lot of the offense was geared towards his strengths, and it was a lot of he had good talent at wide receiver between Travis Hunter and Horn. I mean, those are guys that I could throw to at 5'0". And so, I mean, I really think the offense that he played to his strengths, which I mean makes sense, but can it transfer?
Right.
I remember probably before Michael Vick, a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward wouldn't even be thought of being taken in the first round.
Exactly. And now look at where we are now. Just such a difference in where the league is now than what it probably was 20 years ago, just even 20 years ago. So it's a really good thing to see. I think New Orleans is going to be the spot. And if he doesn't go there, it could be a fall, especially if the Steelers don't decide to make that leap. So it could be very interesting. Maybe a team trades back in. So if you're Sanders, you don't want to go no further than 9 unless somebody's trading up to get you.
The way the Steelers have been moving and shaking, you could see them possibly try to pry Kirk Cousins off the bench down in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be great.
They want. I saw something. I think it was yesterday. They want 26. They want the team to help take on that $26 million that is left owed to Kirk Cousins. I don't see a lot of teams making that leap. Now it may be after the draft. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to be. I think somebody will do it.
It just don't make sense to me that they draft Penix high last year, and they have all those offensive weapons, and they're still drafted in the top 15.
Yeah,
that don't add up.
They were 6-3. They were 6-3 last year, and then whenever Kirk Cousins' shoulder got banged up or whatever, they were not the same team after that. They just weren't. Next, we had the number 10. And the Chicago Bears. Where do you have the Bears going at number 10?
Omari Hampton. And they need a running back. They've done everything they can to solidify that line. They made a couple trades and did a signing free agent wise, which is great because that'll give Williams and his fingernail painting more time to develop and throw down the field. But they need that running back to open up the passing game.
That's great. That's so great. I always hope the Bears fail, but that's personal. That's personal. At number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. Where do you have them going?
Jalen Walker at linebacker. It's been a hot minute since they've had and I want to see him do a lot of stand up because Walker can play in the pass game and edge rush. So he's a versatile piece. You can move him everywhere. And they need the linebacker because Greenlaw left and went to the Broncos. So definitely need that there because Warner, again with the injury bug, I believe he was the one that jumped on the field during the Super Bowl and hurt his knee.
Yeah, he got hurt, but trying to go back out on the field.
And so
such a freak accident.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And their defense really depends upon those linebackers covering so the secondary can do their thing.
Yeah, San Francisco off season has been a little crazy, and so now they're trying to sign Purdy. They trade away. Yeah, it's crazy. You trade Deebo Samuels. They just had a crazy season overall last year. Between the injuries, Ricky Pierce getting shot, I don't know what was going on in San Francisco. They lose Adam Peters, who is obviously a big piece of that puzzle out there.
Yeah.
And now it's just, where do they go from here? This next season is huge for San Francisco because they got to figure if they're ready to take. Are they going to keep things on the right path, or are they going to fall back down?
The only other place I see them going with this pick is tackle because Williams is your age.
Yes, this is true. This is 100% true. And Williams is a Hall of Famer. If he's healthy, he still can go with the best of them.
Right.
But it's one of those things now that he had some issues last year towards the end. I know he had some personal issues as well. And I think it's at the point you have to kind of look ahead and say, hey, we've got to start retooling and rebuilding for the next go around. At number 12, the Arlington Desperados, a.k.a. the Dallas Cowboys, drafting at number 12. Where do you have Arlington drafting at 12, sir?
They need to get rid of their owner, not have him sell the team, but have him let somebody else run the team because I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, he is just an entire different show than Hard Knocks.
Here's the thing, and a lot of people will say this: until Jerry changes his ways, which he won't, he's openly said that, hey, he's all about business. He's about making money. They're America's team, and people are still going to buy into the Cowboys, win, lose, or draw. It's a lifestyle. It's like if you're a Lakers fan or a Yankees fan, they could suck, but it won't make a difference because they're going to have a core base that most teams can't have.
Is he the new Dan Snyder?
I don't know if he's that bad, but he
video of the bathroom stall says
it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean, these guys, man. Shannon Sharp, just throw him out there as well. These guys, hey, look, guys, you get this money, just please, what are you doing? Whatever's going on, man. Y'all guys got to just really think about the moves that you make when you out there with, man.
They let Dan Quinn go, and look what he did with the Commanders. And then, oh God, I can't think of his name. The OC.
Schottenheimer. Yeah, but they brought in.
That's the new guy. The old guy, Kellen Moore.
Oh, Kellen Moore. Yeah.
They're just, I mean, they're breeding the talent. It's almost like the early 2010s Commanders. The talent was there, and they just let it walk away. So,
man, oh man, it's just.
But I got them taking James Pierce Jr. because, again, Parsons wants the money because he's, done what needs to be done on the field, and I don't think they're going to pay him. That's the sad part.
Here's the thing: if you pay him, you handicap that team because, and I think right now they're in talks, but he's not going to take less money. And they're going to put themselves in a really bad position to have the guys that they have. You're going to you already got Dak being the highest paid quarterback per year wise. Then you already have CeeDee Lamb, who's like top 1, top 2, in receiver. And then guess what? When you pay Micah Parsons, he's going to be number 1, number 2. He's going to be in that mix. So you got you got players that are just taking up all of your space.
But 2 of those 3 players deserve that money.
True. That's true.
So for me, it's almost like you got a 10-year-old that's paying a Madden team.
Exactly. At number 13, the Miami Dolphins.
Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon, the offensive tackle. He did really good against Ohio State's pass rush with JTT and Jack Sawyer. And they need an offensive lineman because Armstead retired. So, and they had Tunsil, and then I think they traded him, and that poor man's been traded all over the map.
Yeah,
but definitely tackle, and I don't think he's the best tackle in the class, but he's the most consistent on tape. So I think that's where they go with, because McDaniels wants that consistency, the ability to be on the field and keep Tua from concussion number 75.
You've got to protect Tua. You got way too much money invested in Tua for him to keep having to deal or get put in bad situations with these concussions. At number 14, the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts, with their quarterback stuff going on, Richardson needs to stay on the field. And Tyler Warren is the do-it-all. Watching him play last year was impressive. He could catch, he could block. I mean, he could do anything you wanted him to. He's taller, longer Mike Allstott.
That's saying a lot. That's pretty high comparison, sir.
Well, I mean, he's a do-it-all. And, I mean, look at the tight ends that have come out of Penn State.
So Warren going to the Colts at 14. At number 15, the Atlanta Falcons.
Malik Williams, edge out of Georgia. He played in their own backyard. They've seen a lot of tape on him. They need the pass rush. Grady Jarrett was let go finally. He was the stalwart that was there. They need to do something there in the pass rush, because if not, given Baker Mayfield or even Bryce Young that time, will shoot them in the foot.
It will be interesting. Yeah, and they I know we had James on a couple of episodes ago, because he's like, we gotta get somebody that can go out there and rush the passer. They haven't had a good pass rusher since John Abraham. It's like 10 years ago. Yeah. It's a long time. Very long time. At number 16, the Arizona Cardinals.
I got him going Kenneth Grant, the other defensive tackle from Michigan. He was a bit overshadowed by the way Graham worked, because Graham was always double teamed, so Grant could get the one-on-ones and beat them. But the Cardinals were the worst team in the league defending the run. So tackle's definitely the way they need to go.
Yeah, Arizona
defensive tackle. Sorry.
Yeah, and Arizona that. They drafted Harrison last year, and it's funny because like Harrison had like 8 or 9 touchdowns last year. The crazy thing was, it's just they happened in moments that they just didn't matter. I know that sounds crazy, or it just felt like they didn't matter, other than maybe that Buffalo game where they knocked off Buffalo. It was either LA or Buffalo, whatever one it was. It was like, if it was one of those games, it was about it. Other than that, you didn't get a chance to see, or maybe he just didn't get the big time targets at times where, that you thought he may have gotten them. So it'll be interesting to see where they kind of lean with this one, but they definitely need help on the defensive side of the ball. We head to number 17 and the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that loaded up on the offensive side. They signed both of their star receivers. They got Barrow locked in. Then their all-star, their Pro Bowler, Mr. Trey Hendrickson says, look, man, I want some more money. And then the
As he
trade.
should for the season he had.
Yes. And now they are a team that struggled on defense. They struggled on defense last year. Where do you have them going at 17?
Mike Green, I believe, if I remember correctly, led the NCAA in sacks last year for Marshall. And, he was a transfer from Virginia, which I know hurts.
Just a little bit.
He's got the talent to get it done, and definitely would help out their pass rush. And Sam Hubbard retired.
Right. If you're Cincinnati in this draft, you got to go heavy defensively. They need to pull one of those Carolina Panther drafts from a few years back when the Panthers drafted nothing but defense. And it might be that type of draft here for Cincinnati. Or I would say maybe at least one tight end.
Positions.
Exactly. And I can see them maybe drafting a tight end at some point too. But other than that, I would go all defense. That's just me personally. At 18, the Seattle Seahawks with new quarterback Sam Darnold.
Matthew Golden, I got him going there because the Seahawks seem to like speed. I remember the Percy Harvin trade, have you be, and Sam Darnold did really great with the Vikings last year. Will we see the same success?
That's the
I hope so for him, but on the flip side, you got to have the person that can get open. Now, Golden, when he played against Ohio State, didn't do well against, Captain, I want to hold everybody, Inguinosa.
Captain, I want to hold everyone.
That he had more holding penalties than pass interference penalties, than any defensive back in the entire country last year.
That's crazy. Poor guy. Seattle drafted Matthew Golden to go alongside Cooper Kupp and, of course, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Heading to 19, a team that's near and dear to your heart, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
As much I don't like Georgia players because, I feel the success is about all the talent that's around them. But Malachi Starks did really good. Per PFF, he had the best coverage and catch, not allowing catches. As a safety, he didn't have a whole bunch of picks, but he got the job done. And we need somebody beside Winfield to help out. We tried bringing Jordan Whitehead back, and it didn't work out the way it did 3 years ago. And our secondary is where we have faulted because we got to be able to stop the passes to allow the pass rush to get the quarterback. So definitely.
So Tampa Bay goes defensive back here to try to bolster that secondary. At number 20, the Denver Broncos. They made the playoffs last year. A lot of people didn't expect it, but they did get into the playoffs last year. Where did they go at number 20?
I got them going with Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. They, again, help that pass rush and that defense. So, Harmon really was kind of an issue in the games I watched him with. He was good at taking on watching and guessing when the snap's going to be so he can be there to push the center and, be in the quarterback's face. And you're not going to block 300 pounds with a running back unless you take him out at the legs.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough. For me, I will say there's a couple places I can see Denver going. Obviously, the Bo Nix led this team in rushing last year. You don't need your quarterback running that much. They lose Javonte Williams, so running back could be a position here. Sutton could use a little help at receiver. They could go tight end. But they're such a young team with a lot of places. I think don't be surprised here if they go best person available at that time. At number 21,
I agree with that.
A team that is got the talent, but they ain't got no QB. the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where do you have them going at 21?
Now, Jalen Milroe, at the beginning of the college football season, was the talk of the town, and then Alabama didn't perform the way everybody thought they were. And it's not 100% on him because there's 21 other guys on the field,
Right.
give or take which way you're playing, that are responsible for things. And they had Tomlin, the GM, and Mara down in Tuscaloosa, and they all had dinner with Milroe, and they all came away impressed. And I don't believe this is a reach taking him here. A lot of people are high on Jackson Dart. I have nothing against Jackson Dart, but I think Jalen Milroe has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, I think when James did his draft, I know James had Milroe going to the Rams, which I thought was very interesting. But I see that Pittsburgh to me is the place that I would see him going if Shedeur Sanders is not there. But I think that if you bring Shedeur Sanders in at this point, too, and they end up signing Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be a lot of your quarterback room is going to get talked about quite a bit. It's going to get talked about quite a bit.
Can you imagine how that's going to go over?
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine. And so it's almost like it might be better to have a more of a low key quarterback on the star front. But we'll see how that goes. At 22,
do you really want Rodgers coming in again and ruining a team?
As long as it ain't Green Bay, that's all I care about.
Don't put it out in the universe, bro.
I'm just saying. Look, at 22, we have the San Diego Chargers. That's right. I call them the San Diego Chargers, but they for some reason, they reside in LA. The LA Chargers at 22. Where do you have them going at 22?
I got them going with Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, which in my mind, the team up north, he was the best player on offense for them besides Donovan Edwards, and I think they ran Edwards into the ground. So,
yeah, Edwards had a really good first part of the year, and then he ran into some injuries. Yep. Yeah,
Loveland he's very familiar with Harbaugh, so he'll be able to step in and know the offense, what's going on. And at tight end for Herbert, I think it'll be great for him because they have Higbee and Parkins. They're both older and have injury history. So I know Loveland has injury history, but he's still young yet.
I about to say he got younger injury history.
Yep.
It's just a little bit different on the bones there. At 23, team near and dear to my heart, the Green Bay Packers. Where do you have the Packers going at 23?
Will Johnson. The talent is undeniable, but again, knock on wood, I'm healthier than this young man is.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, I kind of agree with you because in the last mock draft I did, I had Will Johnson kind of going there too. I mean, for me, it has to be secondary. It's more importantly the cornerbacks for Green Bay. Ja'Marr Alexander and his injury history. Me and you spoke earlier.
Money?
Is he worth the money at this point? You paying the money. He's been nicked up pretty much ever since you got the money. It never fails. We brought in Hobbs. Me and you both talked about that a little bit earlier. We're not 100% sold on him being a masterpiece out there. He may be a solid player, but it may not be what you need. So
former Georgia player Eric Stokes.
Them Georgia guys, man.
You drafted him and he is gone. You know?
Injuries. Those first, I think the second and third year of his contract, or second, third year he was with us, just injuries. He didn't. Last year was the first time he played in like pretty much almost 3 or 4 years.
Trying to remember. Sorry, didn't. But the Giants drafted a corner out of Georgia early in the first round, and he washed out within like 2 years.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the key, if you're a Georgia player, go to Philadelphia. At 24, the Minnesota Vikings, a team that I hate with all my heart. Where do you have the Vikings going in at 24?
I got them going with Nick Emmanwori, the safety from South Carolina, who I absolutely love. Do you remember Obi-Wan that we talked about a lot?
Yes.
This guy is an athletic freak, and Harrison Smith is old and gets hurt. They need to shore up the safety spot, and I believe this young man would be the key to it.
Yeah, they just love drafting secondary too. They just love drafting secondary. I don't know what it is.
Well,
They just love drafting secondary, especially in that first round.
Zimmerman's no longer there, so
Yeah, so maybe. Well, in this
or
case, it may
Zimmer, sorry.
yeah. In this case, it may be the same. But we used to see a lot of drafting of our cornerbacks in Minnesota. Now we head to the last part of Jay's mock draft at number 25, the Houston Texans on the board here. They lost two receivers. Well, they lost one. The other one was injured, so they lost him to injury. Then you lose two offensive linemen, mainly Laramie Tunsil to trade. Where do you have the Texans going at 25?
Josh Simmons coming off the injury, in my mind, is the second best tackle, offensive tackle in this class. But because he's injured, he falls down to the Texans. And I believe he will come in when he's healthy and fill that void that Tunsil's left and help keep, Stroud from running for his life.
Yeah, Stroud had some tough times last year. They call it a sophomore slump, but things just for some reason it just felt so different. They played better in the playoffs, but it just felt so different watching them kind of try to figure it out last year. And yet they still made the playoffs, but in a very weak AFC South. At 26, the Los Angeles Rams.
And I will tell you 100%, I don't like this pick that I made because, Campbell is a tackling machine. But last year, there was one first-round linebacker that I can think of that actually played every snap. And that was, every game, Patrick Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Bush is no longer in the league, or not. Yeah, he's no longer in the league. Devin White is on a practice squad. And Jack Campbell for the Lions has been a bust.
It's just kind of sad. Linebackers have been struggling here.
But second round linebackers have been studs. So
it's crazy how it works.
Yep.
It's absolutely crazy how it works. At 27, the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't know how to say his first name.
Jade.
Yep,
Jade.
Barron, cornerback, Texas. He got absolutely roasted against Jeremiah Smith, which every cornerback that took him on basically did. But Baltimore always seems to have a corner get hurt at a pivotal time when they're making their playoff push.
Mm-hmm.
This could be what they need to help get them over that hump and get them into the Super Bowl because Lamar and Derrick Henry, they do their job. They need the defense to do it now.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. The defense they had 2 years ago was probably one of their best defenses they had in a long time, but then the offense just faded at the worst time in the AFC Championship game. And then last year, the defense was trying to rebuild from losing half of those players from that team. And I think they're kind of still in rebuilding mode there. So I agree with you 100%. At 28, the Detroit Lions, probably, I won't say the biggest disappointment last year, but it's a pretty huge disappointment for Lions fans out there last year.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around on how Aiden Hutchinson's leg did that.
Oof. Woo.
And but I think Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, defensive tackle, will help that front because I can't. They brought in DJ Reader, which I don't hate, but Aleem, I don't know how to say his last name, was hurt a lot, and they need Nolan to help push to get that pressure and allow the other guys to collapse and do their job.
Yeah, I mean, look, after all the injuries they had last year, depth. You just want to make sure that you can have guys that can come in there and perform when the time gets just a little bit tough.
That's the huge thing is about fresh legs on the field and rotating your offensive line and defensive line.
At 29, the Washington Commanders, a team that shocked the world last year. They shocked me.
And I think they nail another first-round pick because in my mind, Stewart is the best edge rusher in this class.
Mm.
He's got the bend, he's got the strength and the burst to just be amazing. And you look at their past with drafting edge rushers in the first round. Chase Young is now with the 49ers, I believe, still, right? Or no, Saints.
New Orleans, yeah.
And then, you look what Sweat did with the Bears last year. There was nothing wrong with him.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how the new regime continues to build on a really good football team from last year.
Yep.
Tougher schedule this year coming up for Washington, and so it's going to be a big time, year for the Commanders and their fans. At 30, the Buffalo Bills.
Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. I love his route running tree. He don't got that. I mean, he's got that separation speed, but not that breakaway speed that you want, like for a number one. And he's not as tall as you want, but he's got great hands. You throw him the ball, he'll get it caught. And Mac Hollins is gone, and so is Diggs. They need a wide receiver for Allen to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted Coleman last year, and it wasn't terrible, but it still wasn't what they need. He's still not there yet. They had Curtis Samuel, had some moments here and there, and so yes, they need to continue to build on that receiver front.
I love Samuel, but he's always hurt.
That is also true. At 31, the defending AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Greg Zabel from North Dakota State, the offensive guard. Watched him at the Senior Bowl. He dominated everybody that in one-on-one drills. They couldn't get past him. He reminds me of Ali Marpet, small school stud that went there and did what he had to do to sell himself.
If you're Kansas City, and after what happened to them last year in the Super Bowl, you better draft nothing but offensive linemen until you figure it out. It was rough. It was rough.
They traded, Tooney? Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, they traded Tooney to Chicago.
So it's definitely a need. Don't go after another speed receiver or anything like that, because since Hill left, all of them have been terrible, and you traded for Captain Brickhands from the Giants.
Captain Brickhands go crazy, but you're not lying.
Oh no,
he's not in the league anymore.
He's a rapper now.
Yeah, he better stick to that. And last but not least, the new Super Bowl champion, the now defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. Where do you have the Eagles here at 32?
I got him taking a defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams from Ohio State, because in the red zone, Ohio State's defense was lights out shutdown because of this young man. His ability to he's got kind of that Vita Vea push that you need, and Williams is the name of the other guy that won the Super Bowl with, and he left, and Hargrove's gone. So it's definitely something they need. I know they have Carter and Davis, but they don't get the same push that is needed. Sometimes they get beat by the guards because they're not quick off the snap yet. They're still learning.
Yeah, and then, losing the legendary Brandon Graham, that don't help neither.
Yeah.
They definitely need to load up again. But we got to give Howie Roseman credit. Like, it feels like he's hit on every defensive draft pick, like high defensive director that he's had the last couple of years. It's been crazy to watch unfold. I mean, obviously driving Georgia guys and them know how to play with each other does help, but you draft two cornerbacks in your first two picks and those guys start and they do phenomenal.
Dejon Cooper's a whole different specimen.
Yeah.
Watching him play, I absolutely love, because you're like, oh, he ain't going to get there. And then he's there.
Yeah. I'll never forgive whoever was drafted in front of the Packers to let Philadelphia, because Green Bay was going to select Cooper, and that was the word. They were ready, and then the Eagles jumped in front of him and selected him. I was pissed. Not happy about it at all.
I'm sure. I mean,
So,
but you go back and you look at some of the stuff your Packers have done. Do you remember when they passed on that one guy, TJ Watt?
oh, it's bad. Man, come on, man. That's unnecessary.
I'm not trying to rub it in, but
Just open
I
terrible wounds.
I was there. Now, remember, you were there when I got excited when we traded back in the second round,
and
I wanted Von Bell because we needed safety help.
Right.
And we took a kicker.
Yeah, there's tough times right there. It's
I mean, we've both been there at the
Hey,
weakest time.
when you're sitting there like, I cannot believe they did this to me. Why don't they love me? Why don't they care about me?
You should reach out to your old best friend and see if she's got the video of me ranting through the house.
That's still hilarious, bro.
I called our GM everything but a nice gentleman.
Or a child of God. So sorry, sir. You're everything else but.
Well, and they said they had him ranked as a first-round pick. Where are you, the Raiders? He's not Sebastian Janikowski.
It's crazy.
Or Ray Guy. He couldn't hit a 20-yard field goal.
I just don't think you ever take a kicker that high. I mean, or punter. That's 4th or 5th round material. Anything after that is doable because you're like, okay, we need it and we take it then. But it should be a rule that you just don't draft unless this guy is kicking 80-yard field goals. And I'm like, hey, we got to get this guy. If it's not that, you're not a first or second rounder.
We took that guy from Georgia in the 4th round and then we cut him.
Right. We did the same thing. We drafted Carlson, and I think we drafted him in the 4th, and then 1 year he's gone. He's gone. I think he's in San Francisco now, but he can stay out there too. All right, so there it is, Jay's first round mock. But before we get out of here,
final one.
Your final one.
Yes,
your final one, and there's a lot of goodness in this draft. But before we go to your sleepers, Jay.
Yes.
Out of all of these players in this first round, who are you excited the most to see next season? Out of everybody, in your title, in your entire 32.
Shamar Stewart. I cannot wait to watch him on Sundays. I really want to see what he does because it was like, when the Texans would be on, I wanted to see Will Anderson from a couple years ago because he was supposed to be the next best thing. He's not putting up the numbers, but when you get double teamed, you don't have help, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, he had such a really good first season. Not a bad season this year, but like you said, a lot more attention to him after that Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign going his way. Now we head to Jay's sleepers, his offensive and defensive sleeper here for the 2025 draft.
Now, for me, this is a very deep draft on defensive tackle and secondary players and edge players. Sorry. But my offense, I'm going with Daquan Felton from Virginia Tech. The young man's 6'5", 212, got that, ability to high point the ball, just needs a consistent quarterback to throw it to him.
Yeah, it's been rough out there. It's been rough out there in Tech.
He needs to refine his route running big time and understand the route tree. If he would be a good fit for a second or third round pick for the Commanders. Get Scary Terry to school him on the route tree. This man could be unstoppable.
It'll be interesting to see how he can help out a team this year, and very, very intrigued to see where he'll land. And on the defensive side of the ball,
I got Darian Porter, quarterback from Iowa State. Small school guy, but very long, very tall, which all the teams are looking for taller, cute CBs to help go against guys like Mr. Felton here that are 6'5", or Mike Evans, who's again 6'5", and at least break up the pass, not just intercept it. but stopped them from getting the first down or the touchdown. So definitely you need that length. If Porter would have ran a little bit better 40, I see him not being like a third day guy. I would see him as a second rounder.
Oh man, I'm excited to see where where these two young men go. It's just every year you find those gems out there. Me and you have had our moments of, man, look at that sleeper that hit, and you're so excited. So those are the funnest ones to do. Is finding that player that nobody talks about, and then say, hey, this is the guy that
Alex
can go out.
Highsmith.
Yeah, Alex Highsmith. Yes. Mine was Hunter Renfrow until he's just now not in the league anymore. Like, no one will sign him. I don't understand what happened. I don't know. I don't understand it.
He wants the money, and he can't stay on the field all the time.
It's crazy. He had 102 catches, was looking like the man. And then with the next year, they just wouldn't even give him the ball. And then the following year, he was hurt. And it just like, now he's just out there.
Now, it makes you wonder what would happen with Brock Bowers if he got hurt, because he was getting everything.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. I think they have to go. But there's a part of me that says you need to get another. They're going to have to get another receiver in this draft for sure.
Yeah.
I guess it's just Jacoby Myers out there right now.
Well, my concern with Bowers, look at the trade that happened with Unger and Graham.
Yeah.
When Graham went to Seattle, his career went
right.
And you don't want to see that for this young man, because he's got the talent. He showed it last year.
They're really good.
Pete Carroll does not use the tight end a lot.
And that's where it will get interesting, because the guy has such a great year with miserable quarterback play. Just imagine. I mean, Geno's a way better quarterback than what they had what they had last season. So it'll be interesting to see if Geno will deliver the ball today. He's going to have to, because they don't have any other receivers besides Myers. So we'll see where they go with that.
How big influence do you think Mr. Brady will be in them drafting a quarterback?
I think at some point, I don't know if it could happen this year, and it would kind of maybe shock some people, but they do have to start looking at the future. I think they have Geno for 2 years, or is this 2 or 3 years that they signed? I think they signed Geno for 2, so they got Geno locked up for at least 2 years. So in that mindset, you could draft the guy high and kind of just have him ready to have him learn from Geno, kind of get the ropes in, and then kind of go from there. So that's something I think that they will look into. But they do need a couple other
yours
pieces.
Would be a good guy to set for a year and let him develop, because he's got the arm talent and the strength if he can find the right system. But he's not going to be a plug and play guy
right away.
Yeah.
After he played, the way I watched him, when I watched him play against Ohio State last year, and oh boy, it was rough. So we'll see. We'll see.
The happiness that brought me for him to lose the way he did.
Yeah.
After he walked away from us.
I know it had to make you feel just a little bit good in the inside.
Oh, I high stepped it through the house and woke the wife up.
Now, before we leave off today, we just want to make this announcement. Bears legend Steve Mongo McMichael passed away today after a long battle with ALS. McDonald Jared Payton, who's a big friend, and Walter Payton's son, a real close friend to McMichael. With deep sorrow, I shared that Steve passed away at 5:28 p.m. after a brave fight with ALS. Surrounded by loved ones, I'm grateful to have been with him in his final moments. Please keep Steve Mongo McMichael and his family in your prayers. So shout out to Steve Mongo McMichael, who was a huge part of the Bears championship team and that Bears defense in the 80s. But for a lot of wrestling fans out there who, don't realize, there's a lot of people don't realize Mongo McMichael was a 4 horseman, and he was a big part of the Horsemen in the 90s with Ric Flair and Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson. Like, they were a group together at one point.
There's a throwback.
Former U.S. champion for WCW. So our prayers go out to him.
ALS, I mean, when you say that, I don't automatically go to Lou Gehrig. I think of Gleason from the Saints that blocked the punt. Makes me think of, because I mean, it just takes and destroys you.
Yeah. So the prayers definitely go out to his family.
Absolutely.
Just got into the Hall of Fame last year. So glad that he was here to be able to accept his Hall of Fame induction last year. So once again, shout out to his family. Now, before we go, tomorrow's draft day, man. What like how excited? And what's your draft day meal tomorrow?
I'm gonna talk to the wife and see how she's feeling.
Right.
And have her. She makes me a 6-layer dip.
Mm.
And I'm just gonna sit there and just yeah.
There it is, y'all. So yeah, get y'all draft day meals. I'm still debating right now. I was thinking about chicken wings is just so basic. So I'm still debating on where to go with this. And I got a little time to figure it out. Well, not too much time, but I got a little time to figure it out.
I seen B-Dubs was running their special where it was like what was it, like 30-cent boneless wings, or as my wife calls them, chicken nuggets.
They are the sexy chicken nuggets. That's what they are. Why they call them boneless wings, I don't understand.
Y'all are mean to me.
That's what they are. They're sexy chicken nuggets. I never understood. Hey, well, let's go ahead and call them boneless wings. I guess they're not even the shape of a wing. It's just a nugget.
But you know what you need to have a good day? Some cheese curds.
Cheese curds might be a move. I haven't had cheese curds in a minute. Like last time I tried to make some like last year. It wasn't bad. But it got a little messy. So it got a little messy. All right, everybody. Once again, thank y'all all for tuning in for episode 167, the Jay Quimby final edition here of a mock draft. So look, y'all, tomorrow is it. The NFL draft will be here. I know a lot of y'all are going to be tuned in, glued in. I hope y'all enjoy the NFL draft.
What's your guess on trades that'll happen tomorrow?
Woo, I think since
it's been
so quiet, first round, I said 7. I don't know why 7, but 7.
6. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go a strong 7. I just have this vibe about it, so I'm going to go 7.
I mean, I'm not upset with that. I think it's going to be. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a whole bunch of dancing and moving pieces around and see where you end up.
Well, everybody sit back and relax and enjoy yourselves. Tomorrow, the NFL draft, the 2025 edition, coming from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Y'all make sure y'all sit back and enjoy that.
Y'all have a good day. And remember, when you see Commissioner, boo. Even if you're at home.
That's no matter what you do, you make sure you boo the commissioner tomorrow. Let's keep that tradition alive. Once again, Jay, thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you for giving us your great knowledge, brother.
I appreciate you having me, and thank you. It's very kind.
All right, everybody. We'll see you all next time for episode 168. Until then.
Peace.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.